Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're playing Warframe. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and salutations. Today, the Profit Taker. Let's get to it. So, a little bit of background and prerequisites. The Profit Taker Orb and the Exploiter Orb are what are considered the mother orbs on Fortuna. Now, in order to fight these orbs directly, you will need to get to the maximum rank with Utico. So Solaris United will have to be maxed out at Old Mate before you even have access to these. Now, the Profit Taker Orb or Heist is a series of different missions that you have to do, culminating in a direct fight with the Profit Taker and taking it down. So the first time that you go through this, you'll have to do each one in succession before you can get to that final boss fight. And once you do that, then you can do any of them in any order whenever you want. So you have a lot to work on in order to get to that point. Now, it will not let you participate unless you have that arc gun deployer in your gear wheels. So you need to have that in the gear wheel first, and in order to get that deployer, you have to do the previous missions. Now, this is a very raid-like mission. It's a high level of difficulty. There's lots of enemies, lots of mobs, and there's just a lot going on in general. But there is matchmaking. So 4 players can play at one time. You will be matched together with other people if you do not already have people in your team. Now, it is probably best to have any Warframe that is tanky, and one of the tankiest Warframes that are available right now is Hildren, because Hildren can have, 4,000 shields, so it'll be a little bit less likely for you to go down. Now, this fight is all about doing damage, knowing when you can damage and what to damage, crowd control, and damage mitigation. So your ultimate goal, of course, is to take down the Profit Taker Orb, like a previous fight in the beginning. So in the first phase of the fight, you need to take out the sentient shield, which is only weak to certain damage types. So heat or cold or electricity, etc. Now, if you do not have the correct type, then it will do no damage. And if you don't have the type that the orb is weak to, you can either wait 20 seconds for it to cycle to a new weakness, or you can shoot it with void damage by going into operator mode and shooting it with your amp, and that will manually cycle to another type. Now, once you have the shield down, the orb will be vulnerable and you can call down your arc gun deployer. Start damaging the legs and then move your way to the orb. Once the orb has received 25% of its overall health and damage, you'll move on to the next phase. Now, it's important to note that the orb itself has multiple ways to attack you. There are volleys of missiles that come at you, waves of magnetic damage that come at you, as well as shields that will prevent damage but also be thrown out in a radial direction in some sort of pattern, which will also damage you. And that's not to say anything about the ads that continually spawn and respawn in the area to try to take you out. So once you do 25% damage, you'll go to phase 2. Phase 2, the shields will come back and pylons will be called down. 4 pylons surrounded by shields. Now, the shields can be stepped through, but they cannot be shot through, so you will need to go into each of the 4 orbs, or someone on your team will have to go into each of the 4 orbs and shoot the pylons. Once the pylons are taken out, the orb will be vulnerable to arc gunfire again. So again, shoot at the legs, work your way to the body, and once you get another 25% health taken off, then you'll move to the next phase. So each phase, there's 4 phases, and each phase consists of 25% health. The third phase is a combination of the first 2 phases. You'll have the sentient shield again, so you'll need to have the correct damage type to match, and once the shield takes about 20% damage, then it'll automatically swap to the next one, or it'll automatically swap after 20 seconds, as well as it will manually swap, or you can manually swap the shield by shooting it with void damage. Once you take that shield down, then you'll use your arc gun. Again, shoot the legs up to the body, and once you get 25% damage off, so it'll be down to 25% now, you'll be on to the final phase. Now the final phase involves basically all the other phases combined. So you have the sentient shield, you have 6 pylons, and you also have a 5-minute timer. Once that 5-minute timer is up, if you have not defeated the orb by then, it's unkillable and you have failed. So once again, take down the sentient shield with the appropriate damage type, take out the pylons first, then the shield, then use your arc gun to do as much damage as quickly as possible. Once the orb's taken out, there will be drops on the ground. Make sure to pick those up and then leave post haste, because the orb will self-destruct with a 300-meter radius, obliterating everyone within that radius. Congratulations, you've taken out the Profit Taker Orb, and you can move on. Either do one of the previous missions again. If you're farming for certain resources, do the Profit Taker again. If you need it for Nightwave or some such like that, etc. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to check us out on social media, and thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And we'll see you next time.
Inbound. This should confuse your adaptation system.
Better you than me. Time.
What is it?
That light just moved. This crew must have figured out our bypass. It's realigning.
Barney, running up the side. You have to kill her now. You won't get another chance at it.
the door.
We did it! We did it! Get in there, Tenor. Rip out anything you think might help our cause. Miss, what's that sound?
Continuing to overcharge the orb. At this rate, in a matter of seconds, it will... Outworlders, run!
Still too close, Sparky. Leg it!
I need a drink. Let's never do that again.
LD, I don't think it's strange. Why would your contact just let himself get killed? Quills don't make mistakes.
Quills don't make mistakes, and there's always an agenda. Always.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Sparky, right. We're all here. Let's get started. Final phase. Thanks to that data you gathered, Biz can slow Profit Taker's sentient shield adaptation long enough for you to do some real damage. Then, once the shields are gone, use your Gravamag-modified Arcwing weaponry to punch through her carapace and end this.
So we're gonna pull the trigger on this thing. I've got a card game to get to.
Yudi, the Profit Taker. She's moving. Looks like she's headed for the middle of nowhere. Why? Little duck?
Alright, look. It might be that it turned out that those satellite protocols didn't shut the overcharger down, just realigned it. And it might be that you sounded so pleased about the whole thing that I didn't tell you.
So, if Profit Taker makes it to those new coordinates,
The shields will be impenetrable, and we're done for.
Sparky, to the Vallis, now!